The reason is that there are very few people looking for jobs around here. It's eerily quiet. Why are many people reluctant to find jobs or work in factories? To be frank, working in factories, especially in the last couple of years, has become monotonous and less rewarding. To what extent? 13 to 14 yuan per hour. Recently, I've been receiving frequent inquiries from clients in Central Asia, specifically regarding the pricing of scanning production lines. To be honest, I've had inquiries from about a dozen clients, but so far, only one deal has materialized. Inquiries are abundant, but actual deals are scarce. Earlier, in Chengdu, Sichuan, a Winjia M9 media test car rear-ended a bus. The front engine compartment cover of the car was bent and deformed, and the headlights appeared to have been impacted, while the rear of the bus did not suffer significant damage. This was the first collision involving the Winjia M9, raising questions from some netizens about its ADS 2.0 autonomous driving and AEB braking technologies. The mainland is now experiencing a wave of abandoned electric vehicle (EV) projects. Against the backdrop of many automotive companies closing down, numerous consumers who have paid for their vehicles are now confronted with the news of these companies going bankrupt, rendering their purchased cars undeliverable. With automotive executives absconding with funds, it is the Chinese citizens who are left bearing the brunt of the situation. According to statistics from the Wall Street Journal, the number of new energy vehicle companies that have closed down in China has exceeded 400 since 2018. Many citizens are understandably discontented, yet they feel helpless in the face of these challenges. Just as they are recovering from the pitfalls of incomplete real estate projects, they find themselves ensnared in the predicament of unfinished EVs. Despite their dissatisfaction, there is a prevailing sense of reluctance to resist due to overwhelming frustration.
尾的车子也有烂尾的，听说过吗？昨天我发了一个新闻，一夜之间4S店的集团老板跑路。
Have you heard about unfinished cars? Yesterday, there was a shocking news that overnight, the owner of a group of 4S dealerships ran away, and the banks swiftly repossessed the cars from the dealerships. This time, it's not about a specific car brand facing difficulties, instead, it's the dealerships that are encountering problems. This particular dealership managed multiple brands, over a dozen of them, including joint ventures. So, why are there unfinished cars in this situation? To understand this, we need to delve into the sales model of the automotive industry. Currently, many dealerships operate on a direct sales model. You can order a car through a mobile app, pay a deposit directly to the manufacturer. Therefore, even if one dealership closes down, you can still pick up your car from another one, and the impact is not significant. However, many traditional brand dealerships operate on a franchise model. These dealerships act as intermediaries between the manufacturers and the customers, purchasing cars from the manufacturers and selling them to you with a markup or service fee. If a dealership faces issues, it becomes a problem between you and the dealership, and the manufacturer won't intervene. For those interested in brands that only operate through the dealership model, it's advisable to buy cars that are readily available. Regarding 4S dealerships' extended warranties and maintenance policies, try to avoid purchasing them. If issues arise, manufacturers usually honor the warranty at another 4S dealership. Long-term service agreements with dealerships should be approached cautiously.
水贝工业区这边有很多的工厂，这边的工厂不大不小。
Currently, I'm in Shuibei Industrial Zone, Shilong Town, Dongguan. There are many factories here, not too large or small, but they are facing significant challenges in recruitment. The reason is that there are very few people looking for jobs around here. It's eerily quiet. Why are many people reluctant to find jobs or work in factories? To be frank, working in factories, especially in the last couple of years, has become monotonous and less rewarding. To what extent? 13 to 14 yuan per hour. 3 to 4 years ago, factory wages were already at 17 to 18 yuan per hour, and piece rate factories were paying around 7 to 8,000 yuan monthly. Many piece rate jobs didn't have an earning cap. Nowadays, entering a factory might get you around 6,000 yuan. So, the daily expenses for meals, rent, and the continuously rising cost of living are not proportionate to our stagnant wages, discouraging many from joining the workforce in factories.
导致我们每个月3、4千块钱跟我们的开支不成正比，很多人不愿意进工厂的原因。
Recently, I've been receiving frequent inquiries from clients in Central Asia, specifically regarding the pricing of canning production lines. To be honest, I've had inquiries from about a dozen clients, but so far, only one deal has materialized. What stands out to me is the overall impression from the Central Asian countries. They generally lean towards the relatively impoverished side. For example, when quoting a new production line for general food cans at around 3 million RMB, they find it difficult to accept. They express surprise, wondering why the price is so high. In their minds, spending around 800,000 to 900,000 renminbi should be sufficient for a production line. However, as many in China are aware, especially those in the canning industry, it's nearly impossible to acquire a new production line for 800,000 to 900,000 renminbi. Even a decade ago, a production line would cost more than that. With advancements in equipment and increased automation, the requirements for personnel have become less stringent, but prices have naturally increased. Offering a production line for 800,000 to 900,000 renminbi is unrealistic. In all honesty, this situation indirectly indicates that they cannot be compared with Europe and America. After all, the purchasing power in Europe and America is more significant. In my case and similar industries, once the quote is provided, it often doesn't progress any further. I believe many peers in the machinery and equipment sector, especially those involved in import-export trade, are experiencing a similar situation. Inquiries are abundant, but actual deals are scarce. It's indeed a bit of a headache, and when exchanging thoughts with fellow professionals, many have reached a point where they no longer bother responding to inquiries from Central Asian countries. This trend of numerous inquiries without actual transactions has become quite frustrating. In recent years, China's new energy vehicle industry has been highly anticipated, but the latest data reveals that this once thriving scene is rapidly disappearing. According to a report from the Wall Street Journal, in 2018, the number of Chinese new energy vehicle companies exceeded 487. However, by 2024, shocking data exposes a concerning reality: the number of new energy vehicle companies operating normally has plummeted to just over 40, with over 400 companies declaring bankruptcy in 5 years. This year's figures cast significant doubt on the future of China's new energy vehicle industry. Industry experts predict that this year, Chinese new energy vehicle companies will face an even more severe test, with an estimated 80% of companies at risk of bankruptcy. This news raises concerns about the stability of the Chinese economy because the decline of the new energy vehicle industry is not just a corporate disaster, it may have profound negative effects on the entire national economy. Insiders believe that the collapse of China's new energy vehicle industry is due to various reasons. Firstly, intense market competition and price wars among companies have led to overall industry price competition. To survive, many companies had to lower product prices, eventually falling into a loss. Secondly, disparities in technological levels are evident. Some companies invested insufficiently in the research and development of new energy vehicle technology, resulting in product quality that cannot compete with international standards. Additionally, the uncertainty of the policy environment is a crucial factor driving the bankruptcy of new energy vehicle companies. Frequent policy adjustments make it challenging for companies to plan long-term development strategies. Some companies invested significant funds in technology research and development and capacity construction, but with policy changes, these investments may become meaningless. In this process, not only are companies affected, but it also impacts the livelihood of employees. The mass unemployment caused by corporate bankruptcy increases social burdens, and the collapse of the entire industry chain leads to a severe disruption of the supply chain, causing serious repercussions for related industries and potentially triggering a chain reaction affecting more sectors. Furthermore, the contraction of the new energy vehicle industry will deal a heavy blow to the Chinese economy. The new energy vehicle industry was once seen as the engine driving China's green economic transformation. However, with the closure of companies and the disintegration of the industry chain, this expectation is becoming more distant. China's economy will face new challenges, including rising unemployment, declining consumption, and shrinking investment, which will become significant obstacles to China's economic development. Some industry insiders point out that the decline of China's new energy vehicle industry is also related to changes in the international market. As some major international automakers intensify their efforts in the research and promotion of new energy vehicles, the competitiveness of Chinese companies in the global market is gradually weakening. Some companies, unable to adapt to international market competition, are forced to exit the market, leading to a sharp reduction in the number of companies. Faced with this dire situation, some industry experts call on the government to introduce more favorable policies to help new energy vehicle companies overcome difficulties. However, whether the government is willing to lend a hand and whether it has sufficient means to rescue this industry in crisis remain unknown. In addition to the outbreak of the crisis in the Chinese automotive industry, the economic powerhouse of Guangdong Province is now also facing difficulties. According to reports, a sudden large-scale closure of schools in Xinjiang has plunged the education system into a deep crisis. The latest data shows that over 30% of schools in Guangdong Province have declared closure, with the number of schools in the Xinjiang area decreasing dramatically, approaching 30%. This phenomenon has attracted widespread attention, and its impact on the overall education level in Guangdong Province cannot be ignored. The large-scale closure of schools in the Xinjiang area has raised concerns from various sectors of society. Among them are some prestigious institutions that now, under the enormous impact of the economic crisis, cannot continue normal operations. Students are faced with the difficulty of transferring schools, and teaching staff, who originally relied on schools for employment opportunities, are now facing unimaginable livelihood pressures. Many schools, in order to survive, can only resort to measures such as layoffs and salary reductions. Some schools have even announced the suspension of certain courses to cope with the financial crisis. Teacher salaries have generally decreased by more than half, causing widespread disappointment and anger among education workers. Education experts point out that the outbreak of this series of problems is the complete eruption of structural problems that have long existed in the education system of Guangdong Province. Excessive reliance on economic prosperity, coupled with the neglect of the system's sustainability, has resulted in an inability of the education system to withstand such a huge impact once faced with an economic downturn. The wave of layoffs in the Dongguan area has become a highlight in the economic downturn, with many factories having to take measures such as layoffs due to the dual pressure of declining production capacity and weakened market demand. The escalating layoff rate has thrown the labor market into unprecedented chaos. The wave of layoffs not only has led to thousands of workers losing their jobs but has also presented greater challenges to local society. The surge in unemployment has increased social burdens, and the government faces greater pressure on social relief. At the same time, the chaos in the labor market has also posed employment challenges for the new generation of graduates. Those who have already found jobs are also facing the dilemma of insufficient income. Some factories have had to close some production lines and reduce capacity to adapt to the market's uncertainty, dealing a severe blow to the stability of the industrial chain. This not only threatens the survival of the factories themselves but also has far-reaching effects on the economic structure of Guangdong Province. Foreign companies closing factories in China are actively relocating their production bases to Southeast Asia, posing one of the most severe challenges to the economy of Guangdong Province. Once a popular manufacturing base for foreign investment, Guangdong has now become a hard-hit area for companies to withdraw. Some internationally renowned companies have announced the closure of factories in Guangdong Province. This news has not only put local governments in a difficult situation but also exposed a significant risk of unemployment for a large number of employees. The departure of foreign companies has directly led to Guangdong province losing some important manufacturing industry support, forcing it to face the arduous tasks of economic restructuring and industrial upgrading. Analysts believe that the fundamental reason for this phenomenon lies in the external pressure on the Chinese economy and changes in the international market. As demand for Chinese manufacturing weakens in the international market, some companies, to maintain competitiveness, choose to move their production bases to lower-cost regions. This has caused Guangdong province to lose some crucial foreign support, forcing it to confront the daunting tasks of economic restructuring and industrial upgrading.